Hi, hope you're having a great day. You're watching JG Entertainment, and for this video, I'm going to work Creed 3's opening weekend, give you all the info on it, like all the records that it broke, the demographics, the word of mouth this movie's getting, the second weekend drop, what's estimated, the domestic, the global, the international opening weekend, what's next for the franchise of this huge opening weekend, and whatnot. Just all that info to give you a full breakdown of Creed 3's opening weekend. So yeah, let's get started. So starting, we're gonna start domestically, and domestically, the movie opened with $58.4 million. Now this is huge. Why is it huge? Well, it's the franchise's biggest ever opening weekend, beating all Rocky films and all Creed films, which is really awesome. Now the previous record holder was Creed 2, which for its 3D opening weekend made $35.6 million. So it's not even close. Now it also even beat Creed 3's 5-day opening weekend, as it opened during Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving it opened on Wednesday all the way to like Sunday, so 5-day opening weekend. And for its 5-day opening weekend, that movie made $56 million. So even with the 5-day opening weekend, Creed 3 still did more money, which is insane and really, really amazing. Now, the opening weekend seemed to be mostly male. How much exactly? Well, 63% of the audience was male, and 55% of the audience was between 18 to 34 years old. So it seems like it really heavily skewed young, or it seems like it was like a 50-50 split, which is interesting. I guess Rocky fans still showed up, like older Rocky fans, they still showed up, which is really awesome, because it's not super skewed towards young. It's not like a 60 or 70%. It's still on its 50s. It's just a little bit skewed towards the young side, which I think is really awesome. I think it's a really nice breakdown that you still have the young viewers, but you still have like the older viewers, and they really came together to watch this movie. Once again, it's all thanks to the Rocky Legacy films, but also thanks to the hype that Jonathan Majors had going into this movie, as well as the Creed movies themselves, what they've built throughout this trilogy now, what they built throughout it, and the word of mouth, and how people really like it with this new young generation. They've been able to come together to this movie, so that's really awesome. Now, the demographics when it comes to races are 23% white, 28% Latino, 36% black, and 13% Asian. Now, this is amazing. This is an amazing demographic split. Why? Well, usually movies are heavily skewed white, and usually whenever it comes down to movies of people made by color, like in this one, Michael B. Jordan is the cast lead, and obviously the villain right here is another black person. So when it comes to these type of movies, it heavily skews black, but there's no other demographic that usually shows up, especially not white. So the fact that it's very evenly split right here is amazing, and really shows to the testament that this movie has really built a really nice franchise, and this movie really appealed to all different audiences. And it was really shown by like supporting characters. For example, one of the main supporting characters is a Latino person, and he was a huge part of it for a good chunk of the movie. And you can clearly tell the Latino community showed up with 28% being Latino. So yeah, it's really awesome. So it's really good for this movie. It really shows that it's really appealing to all audiences, which is amazing. Now, this is the biggest opening debut ever for a black directorial debut, which is amazing. So that's, of course, now with Michael B. Jordan. This is the directorial debut, and this is the biggest opening ever for any black director's debut. So that's really awesome for Michael B. Jordan to have that under his belt. And he really did knock it out of the park with directing in his debut. I think it was amazing. So that's really awesome for him to really get rewarded with the biggest opening ever. Now, this is also the biggest opening ever for Amazon, as of course Amazon bought MGM, and it's the first movie or the first major release that they actually get to release in theaters, which is super awesome. And Amazon definitely seems to be a really nice studio for a really nice parent company for MGM, because they're gonna give Creed 3 a full-on theatrical window, which is around 45 days before it hits PVOD and then it goes to streaming or whatever, which is really rare these days. I mean, even Disney Plus doesn't do that for most of the movies. I think it did for only for more movies, it does like a 45-day window or less. So it really just goes to show you that this is a huge deal, and Amazon is really expecting the theatrical run, and that could mean huge legs for Creed 3. Now, Jonathan Majors is another huge winner into this opening weekend. Why? Well, this is two consecutive movies back to back that are number one, which is amazing. So you had Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and then you had this movie, and that usually does never happen in Hollywood. It's very rare. Last time it happened was with Tom Holland, whenever Spider-Man No Way Home was number one, and then it got replaced by Uncharted. But back then, no movies were basically coming out. It was very much the pandemic, so we're still going very strong, especially from Omicron. So it really doesn't really count that much. Whereas this is still like a bunch of movies are going to come out, especially in March. It's stacked. So it's really awesome Jonathan Majors got to get these two consecutive good movies #1 back to back. That's a huge deal for him. And it's a huge win for him because he's such a hot star right now. And definitely you can see that his next project is going to have a lot of heat. And especially for Loki Season 2, which is supposed to be in Loki Season 2, whenever that comes out, he's going to even get more heat. So that's just amazing. Now, let's go into the word of mouth of this movie. And the word of mouth of this movie is amazing. Why do I say this? Well, the audience gave this movie an A- Cinemascore, which is really, really strong. And A- is amazing. That means some people really enjoyed the movie. The only thing I could possibly hire is an A or an A+, which A+ is almost never happen. And an A can happen, but only whenever it's like a huge, huge fan event. For example, Far From Home, No Way Home, got an A, and it's because it was like a huge, huge event. So it's very rare to have an A, so an A- is really good. So that's awesome. Now, it also has an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critic side, so that's a really high RT score, and a 96% audience score from the Rotten Tomatoes score. So that's really awesome. So it definitely seems like the audience completely loved this movie. Like, they just really loved it, and critics also seem to really like it a lot. Wasn't quite there at the 90s, but it was really close. Now, the movie currently stands at $67.8 million domestically after a very strong Monday and Tuesday, where just this past Tuesday, the film made $5.2 million. For comparison, Creed 2 made $2.9 million on its first Tuesday. So it is a huge, and I mean a huge difference between that 5.2 and 2.9. It really goes to show you that Creed 3 has really blown up and is doing almost double what Creed 2 made for its first Tuesday, which is amazing. So that means the dailies for Creed 3 are being a lot stronger than Creed 2, which is amazing. Now, Creed 2 ended up making $115.7 million domestically, and me personally, I would not be surprised if Creed 3 ended up making over $150 million domestically with these very strong numbers and really just destroying Creed 2's performance domestically. I definitely think it can beat it by a lot, by a good $50 million. I can definitely see that. So I can definitely see this movie making $150 to $160 million domestically, which would be a huge, huge win. And that would be super awesome because the movie had a budget of only $75 million. And while this was by far the most expensive Creed Rocky film, is still very, very dirt cheap, and especially with these huge box office numbers, that is amazing for this movie. So really strong things. Now, the movie's estimated second weekend drop right now is of 53%, thanks to Scream 6 reviewed, so it's gonna hurt it just a little bit, taking a little bit of the heat off this movie. But for it to only have a 53% drop, if that ends up being the case, that would be amazing because it's still a really strong hold, and of course with its strong word of mouth, I can definitely see it stick in the very low 50s, which I think is really awesome. And if it has a 4 in front of it by any chance, like if it actually ends up being like a 49% drop, that would be amazing for his film. So we'll have to see it and see how it drops, especially since Scream 6 is definitely going to hurt it a little bit, but I have faith in it. That's going to hold really, really well. Alright, now let's talk internationally. And internationally, the movie opened with $43.1 million, which is really, really good. By far the biggest opening ever for the Creed Rocky franchise overseas or internationally, which is amazing. It especially did really good in Europe, which is interesting. So it definitely captured like the UK and all that type of stuff. It captured those markets really well. It also did really go in Mexico. Once again, Latino representation, I actually ended up helping this movie a lot, which is really interesting. And they even have some Spanish dialogue in there. That's really awesome. The fact that the minorities are really supporting each other in their films. We have Wakanda Forever and we have this. It's really awesome. Now, the movie is currently tracking 109% higher than Creed 1 was at the exact same time for its international run, which is insane. And it's tracking 25% higher than Creed 2. That's a lot. That's 1/4 of an increase. That's a huge, huge an upgrade when it comes to the scale of the film internationally. So that's amazing. And maybe Michael B. Jordan's influences on anime into this film ended up helping this movie get bigger. Internationally, I could definitely see that be an effect. And once again, like I said, the representation that it gave, especially Latinos in this movie, they kind of really included them a lot here. So that's really awesome that this movie was able to capture more international markets. Now, globally, the movie opened with $101.5 million, which is amazing. This is the first sports film to ever cross $100 million on its opening weekend, and the biggest opening for any sports film ever, so that's amazing. Now, the global total currently for Creed 3's box office is at $110.9 million, which is really awesome. Now, comparison right now, Creed 2 ended its global run at $214.1 million. Now, Creed 3 is already halfway past that, so that means it's definitely going to get there for sure. And I would not be surprised if it crosses $300 million, which would be the first Rocky film ever. I think maybe Rocky 4 crossed it, but beyond that, it would be the first Rocky and Creed film to ever cross $200 million, especially the first Creed film globally. And I definitely think that this is going to happen because had a huge opening weekend, and it's overperforming everywhere, both domestically and globally, and it's overperforming by a lot. Like I said, 25% higher internationally than the Creed 2, and domestically, it's doing a lot better as well. Especially in the dailies, it's doing a lot better, getting almost doubling the dailies. So that's amazing. So I definitely think this movie's gonna do a lot better, and I can definitely see it getting to 300 million, and maybe on the like 250 million, which would be insane and super awesome for this movie. So yeah, I could definitely see me doing that. It could be like another situation with Puss in the Boots, where it was like a sleeper hit, where it really got so much like just amazing word of mouth, which people just went going every weekend to watch it. The only reason why this might be heard is because there's so many films releasing in March. Like this year, March is stacked. We have Scream 6 coming up next weekend. There's also Shazam for the Gods that still has to come out, and John Wick 4. So there's still a lot of movies that have to come out this month. So that's something that could really hurt the hopes for this movie. But in that, I don't see a problem with this movie reaching 300 million just because of how much it's already overperforming. Definitely expect 300 million. That would be amazing. Plus, like I mentioned, the movie is going to have a full theatrical window of 45 days. So yeah, it's really awesome. So if it is able to cross 200 million, that's amazing. With a budget of $75 million, definitely expect the Creed franchise to continue. And Michael B. Jordan already confirmed Creed 4. So definitely expect Creed 4. And of course, it was a Drago spin-off movie announced earlier this year. So also expect a Drago film coming out soon. Not anytime soon. I think they still have writing the script or whatever. But hopefully they get some really nice talent in that film. I mean, I think it's the writer from Creed 3 writing the Drago movie. So that's already really good for this movie. And I could definitely now wait to see what other talent they get behind the scenes, like the director and whatnot. I mean, I really hope that we get that spin-off movie because I think they have a lot of potential. And who knows, maybe we might get a Damien spin-off movie or something. And maybe we might start getting to shows. I think that's also very highly a possibility due to the fact that Amazon now owns this franchise. And of course, they have Amazon Prime. And Michael B. Jordan has worked extensively in Amazon Prime shows or in Amazon Prime movies with the film Whatever Morris and whatnot. So I could definitely see a Creed spin-off or like Creed universe, Rocky universe type of spin-off show somewhere in there. Maybe from Damien. I think that would be amazing. I would definitely watch that, or a spin-off film. I don't know. Whatever it is, definitely expect a lot more spin-off films, and definitely expect this very own franchise to continue with Creed 4. Maybe focusing more on Creed's daughter, perhaps. I have no idea, but I would be very curious to see what's next. And so yeah, that's all I got for you in this video. That's my full box office breakdown of Creed 3's opening weekend, a really awesome opening weekend. So yeah, tell me what you think about this down in the comments. Are you happy that it's doing so good? What are your predictions for what's going to end its total run? And did you go see it this weekend? And if you did, what do you think about it? And if you haven't gone seen it, are you going to go see it? Are you planning to go see it? Or are you going to watch another movie instead of Creed 3? Very curious to hear all those thoughts. So yeah, tell me that down in the comments. As well as please leave a like and enjoy this video. Or really helpful videos, especially like these videos that take forever to make. Please leave a like. And subscribe for a lot more content, including a lot of Creed 3 content. I'm going to do a top 10 scenes, characters ranked, all type of stuff. Subscribe for all the content that I'm sure you're going to enjoy. And yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And this is your entertainment out.